And speaking of loud and noisy, now I'm not talking about Peter Schiff here. I'm talking about the reaction to very often here among our panelists to what Peter Schiff says. He, of course, is the author of Crash Proof. Peter, you got a lot on your plate, oil and the dollar. Go ahead.
Well, you know, let me put the two into perspective, because it's really not oil prices that are rising. It's the value of the dollar that's falling. You know, back in 1970, oil was about $3 a barrel, and gold was $35 an ounce. Today, with oil at about $97 a barrel, gold's around $830 an ounce, the relationship is still pretty much intact.
So they track.
Yeah, and so what's really happening is our money is losing value, and certainly, you know, when oil was $20 a barrel 5 or 6 years ago, my long-term forecast, my 10-year forecast, was $150 to $200 a barrel. That's in print. I've made it several times, and I still think that that's pretty accurate. I think we're going to go there, not because oil is getting more expensive, but because the U.S. dollar, which is hitting another all-time record low against every currency today, continues to sink through the floor.
Peter, let me just mention two things. First of all, oil, as it pertains to the average household, is a lot less of an impact than it once was. And
no,
also,
it's not.
Also, well, hold on. Also, you know, you talk about the dollar, but how much are they paying for crude oil gasoline in Europe? If the euro is such a great currency and the dollar's not, aren't they paying at least twice as much as Americans?
Yeah, but Charles,
there's a lot of
they are, but Charles, but it's still a bargain for them, because compared to what we're paying,
no, it's not a bargain.
Let him finish.
Phil,
compared to what they've been paying for the last few months. I mean, listen, for Europe with because oil's priced in dollars, for them oil's half price, even though it's more in dollar value. For them, it still seems cheap, because they're used to paying outrageous prices.
Let me say two quick things.
For them, it's a good thing.
Yeah,
I hate to say it, but Peter actually is onto something here. It isn't just oil; it is the dollar, and the reason we're paying such a high price for oil is because the dollar has fallen so much. So in this regard, I know it's unbelievable, but Peter and I actually agree on something.
Well, two quick points I want to make. Just first of all, you don't have to go to Europe. It's 5 years ago, the average American earned 70% more than the average Canadian. Today, the average Canadian earns as much as the average American. By next year, the average Canadian will earn 20% more than we do.
I'll look that up.
And
I don't believe those numbers, though. Right offhand, Peter.
Go check. And also, let me tell you.
Let me just
I got a very
finalize the point. Hold on a second, Peter. You mean because of the fact that the Canadian dollar is now trading above the U.S. dollar, that puts their salaries in a very different perspective.
Of course. Well, that's how it works. That's why we're wealthier. That's why we were wealthier than so many people, was because our money was more valuable. As our money loses value, but oil is just as important to our economy today, if not more so than it was in the 1970s.
Let me
hold on, Peter.
All right.
Let me stop the Peter Schiff show for 1 second. Hold on, I'm here.
You know, he didn't interrupt Pat when Pat was agreeing with him.
No, he didn't.
Let me just say one thing, and Charles made a statement I'm not sure I agree with, that it doesn't really matter that much that oil prices are where they are. I believe Americans are used to a certain price in oil. We used to pay $1.50, now it's $3 and going higher. I do think it matters, and when you put the combination of what's happened with housing prices coming down, there is something out there called a wealth effect, and that wealth effect is going south right now, not north, and that will impact the consumer both psychologically and physically going forward if this continues.
Gary, I understand what you're saying, and we've been hearing this for a very, very long time. And, you know, maybe it will happen, but I think that $3 threshold, we got that sticker shock already. And you know what? I think a lot of people are sort of used to it right now. Maybe the next tipping point could be $4, but I don't think it's $3.
You know, it takes
it's happening right now.
It takes a long time to change something, though. It takes a long time for us to change our usage of gasoline. It takes a long time for us to change our usage of oil.
People are still buying SUVs.
Yeah, well, not as much as they were. And if you look, people are going out and they're test driving a Prius. Maybe everybody's not buying it, but they're starting there.
Pat.